The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello, welcome to the show. Brought to you with Levi Solicitors. 10% discount is yours off your legal fees at levisolicitors.co.uk/the Square Ball. I'm Dan Moylan. That's Michael Normanton. And that is Moscow White, Daniel Chapman. This is where we pick the week's heroes and villains. Ken Bates Villain of the Week award first then, gentlemen.
Fitting in a Chelsea week, isn't it?
We'd have to leave Stamford Bridge.
We don't do it. I mean, I will say, because of the amount of feedback we had from this game, because everyone was very, very excited, I think the obvious candidate, and probably that someone who's received more nominations than anyone ever, is now Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to win this award, isn't he? Let's face it. I mean, we can deal with some of the other runners and riders, but let's go big at the start, because people have given us their audio feedback as well, sent their tapes in. And should we start with Lean Cheese? And you have edited bits out of this, Michael?
A little bit, yeah.
Just because we want to stay the right side of the lawyers, don't we?
Just in case Lee's wondering. They've taken out the best bits.
It's like, no, Lee.
You know why.
Yeah, we had to, you naughty man.
I don't want to dwell on negatives, because what an absolute result. But can we continue to discuss Thomas Tuchel? He is an absolute whopper. No grace in defeat whatsoever. A list of excuses as long as Mick Hucknall's arms in Bo Selector. Blaming the fact that him and his coaching staff had to get a bus, which is surely only a problem if you've got the face of a man who sniffs the seats on the journey. A face which is both terrified and terrifying.
He could just be checking the seats for hygiene.
I think
yeah.
When Lee says, can we continue to discuss Thomas Tuchel, we've taken some legal advice and no. Not along the lines that you wished to pursue.
Yeah, and you're right. You're right about that, Michael. You might just want to be checking that it's all been sanitised. Yeah, safe for his staff to travel.
In case you'd been on it before with your special drinks.
Right.
I mean, he was concerned about the travel arrangements for everyone, wasn't he? So it's only right that if you have to travel on a coach that way. God. I mean, as well, the coach did have been on. Have you seen the buses that footballers travel on?
Nicer than my house.
Exactly. They've got like sofas in them and tellies and tables and... Is flying even any quicker by the time you've fucked about getting through security and all that sort of
flying
stuff?
To Leeds Bradford as well, so then it's still, by the time you've got through security and then
I'm disappointed you call it. Don't call it Leeds Bradford Airport. You would have
Yeadon.
Yeadon Aerodrome.
Well, they went there as an alternative to Ringways.
I was waiting for Ringways.
Hey, bloody hell, I'll tell you what, I nearly didn't make it onto my flight at Ringways when we went to Greece the other week. Bloody hell.
Ringways is Manchester, in case anyone is
Manchester
confused.
Airport, yeah, its old school name is Ringways. We had to be pulled out of the security queue at 5 a.m. for a 6 a.m. flight. We'd got there at 3:35, just dropping the bags off and getting through security. Got through to security, like they tried to fast track us through. Only 2 bloody belts on. That was it. And then, because there was an iPad in the bag and we hadn't got it out and there wasn't adequate signage, they then had to put the iPad back through, all that kind of
The way
jazz.
they dealt with the security queue when I went to Montenegro was the woman shouted at me when I started trying to get stuff out of my bag because I was trying to do it properly like you do in England, where they're like, no, electrical devices must all be separate and not overlap. And she just went, no, in the bag. And they just put it through.
Right.
I don't think she checked. It didn't check, basically.
Yeah,
it was a quicker way of doing it.
Not massively asked whether I said coming back from Greece into Britain, but Britain, like, get everything out of the bag. So they had to put it back through as well, and there were only 2 people working. They weren't asked. My wife and my son managed to clear security. I think it was with 9 minutes to spare until the flight closed, and was assured by the person who tippy-tapped on their computer at the security desk, oh, it's fine, it's at gate 15, which is right next to duty-free. It wasn't. It was at the arse end of the terminal, and they had to run like in a film, and we were boarding at the moment when they arrived.
Good to get somewhere on time, though.
Tuchel doesn't know how easy he had it, did he?
At least it wasn't a bus.
Oh, sometimes you've got to get a bus from the plane to the terminal. Imagine that. What would he do then?
A bus to Greece would have been a bit of a trek, admittedly. But London to Leeds.
Dennis Bergkamp would have preferred it.
Or David Batty.
Yeah.
Right.
Famous non-flyers.
Ginger Paul then has this to say.
Just wanted to remark on the hilarity of Thomas Tuchel being such a little crybaby that he couldn't accept that his team lost. They fucking lost. Instead, he has to give some kind of bullshit primary school workaround that's like, oh, no, it's not that we lost, it's just that we didn't win like we should. Oh, no, those boys didn't win because they were good. No, it was all mean boys being mean and not doing what we wanted to, and we should always win because we're Chelsea. Get it up, you big stupid crybaby.
I like that. Mrs. Doubtfire as well made an appearance, which was excellent.
Is that what that was, do you reckon, in the middle?
The voice, yeah. Ginger Paul slipped seamlessly into a middle-aged man dressed as a lady. Tom, should we hear from Tom?
Why not?
Is he nominating himself?
Tuchel, you lanky, useless, salty bastard. Shit team, shit club, shit fans. It's all fucking shit. Fucking hate Chelsea. Get in.
Oh dear, that was all of us on Sunday, wasn't it? Yeah.
That sums it all up. But on behalf of Boydie, Daniel Coughlin, Darth Spaderboy, Dino, Liam, Ginger Paul, we heard him, Andy from Salford, Grumpy Git, Kev, Zach of Oz, Paddy, amongst many others. They're the ones that you copied over here.
Yeah, we've got loads of whining, preening, human centipede, red card dodging weasel.
Some more very serious accusations as well.
That's not making it through.
Paddy Gunn did rightly, actually, for something slightly different, did nominate him for trying to take another of Brendan Aronson's goals away by referring to it as an own goal.
Yeah,
when it was definitely not an own goal.
There was somebody suggested it might have been a translation thing, that he's trying to say mistake, but no, it's not. Those aren't the words he used. He's been here.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's saying. Well, I mean, that's one of the accusations against him. He can't use ignorance as a defence.
There were some nominations for Chelsea fans / Ken Bates, which I guess fall under the same umbrella. From a variety of people.
I've just remembered I've got Ken Bates news. I've not yet replied to it. Discovered it a day or two ago. I know it's when I was replying to someone about a marketplace item on Facebook, and you noticed I was getting, you know me, I'm like getting a free fridge for the new office on there. Discovered, in your Facebook messages from people who aren't your friends, it's always spam stuff. I've got one in there from Wyoming Ken Bates.
You kidding me?
No joke. He's in there.
What's he said?
He said, I don't know if it's in reference to...
Leave me alone, my solicitors will be in touch.
Well, it is a bit passive-aggressive. It's something about, let me know if you want me to send you any more family pictures or something. So I don't know if he's seen the...
Oh, the Crowdy.
The Crowdy, maybe, because that's recently been dropped off. I don't know if someone has pointed him in the direction of that, which is his head... Not taken from Facebook, I will add. It was from when he was a councilman.
So it's in public domain.
It was public domain. I haven't trolled his private collection, but it was his head on Vern Troy's body.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's seen that and is now getting in touch. So I'm slightly scared to reply to him, and I've not a chance to do it yet.
I wouldn't.
Do you think not?
Nah. Best thing to do.
Just send him his Crowdy.
I've sold it. I don't know. It was a charity donation.
You know where it is, though, don't you?
I do know where it is. Do I need to get it back?
No, just ignore it, Michael. If you ignore it, it goes away.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's sound legal advice.
Okay.
How long? When did he send you that message?
It's a good question. It was a while ago.
I've
missed it.
Yeah.
But part of me thinks, would it be good to speak to him?
Well, you were going to prank call him at one point.
I tried ringing him loads of times.
Yeah.
Why don't you say just play it and say, reply, I don't know what you mean. Could you explain what you mean? Sorry, I don't follow.
Yeah? Do you think that might work?
That'll work as well.
Okay.
Yeah. On to Mason Mount, by the way. Billy B suggests he did nothing wrong particularly, but his rap featured Lampard loving face was on my TV, which was enough to be nominated. Fuck off.
It was good as well that he skulked off really miserably. He just got subbed off at a point when there was other stuff happening, so no one even noticed it. You just went, oh, Mason Mount's not on the pitch. What's happening here? Good. We never beat him, do we?
No. A number of people nominated as well, like Koulibaly nominated for his manhandling of our children, which is not good.
He did pick on the little ones, didn't he?
Mm.
Speaking of which, Scott Parker gets nominated. Marvin says that Tuchel feels too obvious. Plus, I don't want to end up in
a redacted.
But yes, he's just. It's another one for Scotty Parker's atrocious blazer.
He does nominate Jesse Marsch, and his trousers so tight that he could see his 4-2-2-2 formation.
He wanted you to see it, didn't he? The way he was proudly thrusting it about the place.
Oh, are we going to give a mention to Captain Hindsight here, Zach, who's trying to dig us out for criticising last season?
No, he's fine too. It's fair enough. Yeah.
Well, Zach says everyone who slated Marsch for the performances last season, including you guys. It was obvious all along that his one aim was last season was to keep us up. It was clear the performances weren't great, but they worked. Did they? Yet so many people, including you, that's my emphasis, judged him negatively based on those. They may have been poor, but the correct response, sorry, Zach, was to not judge them at all when the only purpose was results.
Well,
so should we just have not watched them?
I mean, what I'm saying is it's easy to say that knowing that we stayed up when going into the last 10 minutes of the season against Brentford, we were a 2-goal swing away from going down.
I think I will stand by everything I said about Crystal Palace 0, Leeds United 0 from last season. I think it will be justified based on the actual sodding game.
I was going to say, it's almost like you form opinions based on what you see and the actual evidence in front of your eyes, rather than with the aid of hindsight.
Anyway,
Sickening me, Zach.
Poor old Zach.
None of it's important, Zach.
No, it's not.
You're right. You're right to call us out. We were wrong. I don't think any of it expected us.
What
this
did we-
season.
We weren't wrong. We were right, and then things changed.
But no, I think truthfully, I think we did have doubts about, as anyone would who watched it, I suppose, about
Exactly.
doubts about whether or not the system.
It was impossible to watch those desperate, awful fucking games against Aston Villa and Crystal Palace and Arsenal and Chelsea and Manchester City, and think.
I think Manchester City was still Bielsa, wasn't it?
Nah, the one that wasn't the second one.
The one at
remember.
Ellen Road was Marsch, yeah.
Yeah.
It was actually, yes, wasn't it? Sorry.
And think, this is great and it's going to turn out wonderfully. The games just didn't show that. You could step away and think, well, if he gets us through this and into next season,
And he gets his own players, yeah.
because we know that he's got more about him than this. I don't think anybody ever said he was not capable of doing better than what he was doing, but all the doubt was generated by the results and the performances that we were watching with our eyes, and you could only judge the games for what they were.
Jesse does get a nomination actually from Vinnie Barker for not doing the exact same thing to Tuchel that Tuchel did to Conte after they played Spurs.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity.
Should have done that and more. 'Cause he was kind of winding up for it beforehand with his whole because he made a big thing in the press conference of I don't think he should even be on the touchline, which whether it's genuine.
I like that.
Genuine ignorance of the rules as he was trying to play it off. He's like, oh, well,
He knows
I
what
don't
he's
know.
doing. He knows
Or
what
if
he's
it was trying to get the hype it up between him
good.
and them. And it was good to, as a way of taking we talked on Propaganda Extra about how all the attention is on managers, and I suppose one benefit of that is it's off the players to an extent. And when you're going in against a top four, as they wish they still were, opponent like Chelsea, you want to take it off the managers and say, right, off the players
yeah.
and say, right, we'll just make it about me and Tommy, because I'm much less likely to redacted.
Exactly, yeah. And I should say, just returning to Zach's comments, I am just joking, because as you were saying, Michael, none of it matters. It seems to be sometimes like a desperate clamour for people to pile in and have a go at you for having doubts or fears and stuff like that, or saying that's a bit shit. It doesn't matter, does it?
And also, if I've said something bad's going to happen and something good happens, I'm only ever pleased.
Yeah.
I would get no satisfaction from Rodrigo not scoring on Saturday. So I can go, good. I said he wouldn't score. Yeah, as it was, he scored, and I jumped around a stadium.
It's only football, isn't it? None of it matters. None of it matters.
What does matter? Sky.
Yes.
We mentioned them already in discussion of the Chelsea game for having inflicted Don Goodman on their good subscribers and illegal streamers as well.
And also,
who may have been watching.
As Lisa points out, they cut away from Ellen Road, forcing us onto the poxy Sky Sports News channel for all the reaction to beating Chelsea, to show that bloody sports washing derby. Pathetic. I must admit, I was quite offended that we weren't first on Match of the Day, and also then because we won, I listened to other football podcasts too, so I started listening to the Guardian podcast, and they started talking about that game first, and I was like, fuck off. Yeah. Talk about us. Who cares?
Skip.
Nobody even won.
No.
It was a draw. So what's the point?
Meaningless game.
They should replay it and then talk about that when somebody has won.
Adsham has a particular gripe against the RMT as well, which is the railway trade union, for not striking on Sunday to further compound the misery of those going back down to London.
Similar
Chelsea fans.
Angus Quarter Pounder calls out Charter Airlines that they should give Chelsea a bigger plane next time so they can at least give us a game. It was very unfair. It's well known that no team has ever been able to win a Premier League football match when some of the coaching staff have had to travel on a luxury bus the day before. It's just well known.
It's impossible. It's working in impossible circumstances, isn't it? That's what people.
It's a wonder the game wasn't called off.
And this brings us right back around to where we started, which is with that crybaby Tuchel.
Yep. So he wins.
Yep.
Next,
on to the Gaetano Berardi Hero of the Week award. Loads of nominations in for everyone because it was a bloody nice weekend.
The whole United States of America nominated within everyone as well.
Not always being considered that way by everybody, but.
But Boydie likes them. Boydie likes all of them, all the players, Marsch, Mark Jackson, the press, and the United States of America.
Let's go on to Jesse specifically then, shall we? Ayrton. What a great name. Ayrton had this to say.
Hero of the week has got to be the man himself, Jesse Marsch. Joined the club at a really tough time, has had his fair share of doubters, in particular Mr. Chapman himself. But he's stuck to his principles, he's shaped a team in his own way, and he's led us to one of the best wins we've had in a long time. What a lovely set of fine young men he's created.
You, Oscar. You
Why did you point at me?
Because we were all getting blamed for it before. I pointed at myself too.
All right.
We all had doubts.
It's fine.
Exactly.
It's fine to have doubts.
And I always said that his football would be fine and it would be quite exciting. And so it is. I just always also said he stands with his legs too far apart and goes on about Gandhi too much. So, you take the rough with the smooth, don't you?
Yeah, and the smooth, very much beating Chelsea.
The smooth, very much the way his jeans are ironed.
I don't even need to iron those, they're that tight. I think your legs do the ironing.
Body heat will just do it for you, won't it?
I wonder how he gets them off. It's got to be a challenge. It can't be easy.
Talc.
Do you think him and Tuchel both have to they have a bidding war over who is the best trouser remover in the Premier League?
Do you have any? I know you're a fan of talc.
Talc is underrated, mate.
Have you got any trousers you need talc to get on and off?
No. But there's nothing wrong with a gentleman's talc every now and then.
Wait, PVC ones?
No. Only for getting those on, not for getting them off. You can either go Vaseline or talc. Well, for the PVC ones, they're quite easy to get off because obviously the Velcro strips right down the legs on the outside.
Of course.
Just off they come.
The mental images are making me warm to Marsch, slightly picturing him kind of ripping off his trousers in a big cloud of talc. And if he really wants to win us over, he should coach a game in PVC trousers. Yeah. Take it to the next level.
What about a PVC t-shirt to go with, like Right Said Fred back in the day?
Just do the full soft sell.
Yep.
You do a Mark Almond tribute on the sideline because local band.
Yeah.
So
let's cut to Dave, shall we? Let's hear from Dave.
If Jesse was the villain last week, surely he's got to be the hero this week.
I'm minded to agree. I think that was I wasn't here last week, but
that's how it works. Well, I mean, he did the exact opposite last week in terms of substitutions, so that worked, and but then that's essentially what he got the villainy for, was you didn't make any subs when you should have, and this week he made loads of subs and we won, so it worked.
Other stuff as well. He's
responded.
He's digging it. Like Weech has said, very much enjoyed Jesse smashing the water bottle into the ground with the force of a comet hitting Earth, which was beautiful. The Earth the East Stand was shaking anyway, wasn't it? So that water bottle would have just contributed to that further shaking. And he's taking RDO says he's taking a shithouse, sarcastic bastard approach to his media duties, which I think is very enjoyable.
It's hard to know how sarcastic it was, really. I think the Tuchel stuff was definitely prodding at him a bit, and the FA doing a kind of, well, isn't that the rules? As I understand it, but generally I find he's fairly sincere, isn't he?
He's quite, I mean, from that point, yeah, almost.
He's cheeky.
Yeah, but he's quite easy to read in those things. It's not like, it's when he says, the reason I have a go at referees is because it makes them do what I want them to. And it's like, oh, okay, you've told us. It's like doing the trick and then telling us about it. I still feel a bit like that with the Tuchel stuff, where it's kind of like, oh, right, you're having a go at Tuchel to take the pressure off the players. It's all a bit clear, but it's definitely more palatable than the kind of like passive-aggressive Thomas Tuchel himself nonsense. Because when Tuchel going through his post-match press conference, well, it's nothing to do with Leeds. Leeds didn't do anything. Well, I even talked about Leeds. Oh, the fact that they outrun us by 11 kilometres, that doesn't mean anything. That's the work of a wanker. Marsch kind of being quite brazen in the way he approaches the thing, like his messaging, where you can read it quite easily, is much preferable to him being like a snide bastard.
Let's hear from.
I like these things about him.
Let's hear from Sarah Sazzy BM.
That was just absolutely amazing, and I think Jesse Marsch deserves a lot of credit, especially after the shambles of the substitutions last week. He was spot on with everything this week: tactics, subs, player choice, everything. It was just brilliant, and I cannot stop smiling. I wish I could have been there. It looked amazing.
It bloody was.
It was amazing.
It really was. It was a very, very enjoyable day. I think for me, Jesse very much the front runner for this award this week.
I would say so, but let's talk through some of his. What was I nearly said delightful boys. That's not what he said, was it? What did he say?
Fine young men.
Delightful boys.
Delightful boys.
Well, Tyler Adams got some love. Adam E said that Adams is a sexy little bastard. He's like a rash, but a delicious one.
Very true.
Which is good.
I think I might have enjoyed his performance the most.
Mm-hmm.
on the weekend. Maybe that's because I like functional, gritty midfielders over flashy forwards.
An ankle-biting bulldog of a player, said Luke.
Did you like when he won the goal kick off of Conor Gallagher and walked away laughing at him?
I didn't see that.
Oh, it's caught on the TV cameras as well. Conor Gallagher is aghast that this has not been given his way, and Tyler Adams is walking away, he's looking over his shoulder and he's just laughing. Beautiful.
Nagolo Yankee, by the way, that name is starting to take a little bit.
Yankee, yeah.
Yep.
There's another, TJ's made a joke too.
Yep.
He never gets tired.
Like a Geordie. Tired, man.
Are we giving Binso the credit for N'Golo Yankee?
I don't think it was Binzo's original
he sent it in.
tweet.
Well, she sent it in.
Well, you can have the credit on this show, but I don't think it was that person.
Okay, well, we must find that person.
Trace it back to its origin and credit them properly. But yeah,
we know the origins of the next one. Jackie.
Yep.
Started right in this room, didn't it?
Yep.
Jackie David Harrison.
I did that.
And now it's on South American commentaries. Leslie.
No squabbling, boys. Let's hear from Leslie.
Heroes, Jackie Haradonna and Aronson's bromance, just adorable.
That was very wholesome. The way they gazed at each other in that post-match interview.
And they're basically inseparable. So when they were subbed off, they're sitting next to each other on the bench. And then at corners and free kicks, there's the deep whisper.
And then, there was the one where they both did, you put your arms up. Shall I put my arms up too? I'll do it too.
Just that's what they were saying. Yeah.
Just so they definitely know.
Yeah, go on, you do it. No, you do it as well.
You do it together.
You do it. I'll do it. I'll go first. You go first.
1, 2, 3. There we go.
Arms do you think, because we've seen the amount of physical work Harrison puts into himself, and we've seen that Brendan, by comparison, is quite a scrawny boy. Do you think he's going to get jackied up?
Maybe.
Comes back ripped after the World Cup or something.
Put him in touch with his PT and just be like, well, this did wonders for me. And I'm now trying to imagine Aronson with like a huge Jackie Harrison body, but then still that little 13-year-old's face on top.
Well, my plan was always to, rather than sign Traore, was just to get Dan James on the roids, because it's basically the same player then. So could go for something similar with Aronson, but get him beefed right up.
Nicola is suggesting
using only legal methods. I would say, don't get him on the roids.
Just protein shakes.
Little scum bastard with really oily arms. Imagine.
Nicola is suggesting
greasy little scum bastard.
Nicola is suggesting that was Jackie's best game in a Leeds shirt. That one, top class. Aronson does get some nominations as well from another Dan, Tom H. Ethan from Virginia stresses that's US in brackets there. Good. Who says, I don't have a cowboy accent, but I do say y'all, and nominating the Medford Messi.
I didn't see his touch. Yes, did we see his touch map?
I have seen it.
I did not see it.
It's everywhere. Ridiculous.
I think I saw it described as hilariously symmetrical, which is like one of the somebody's face if you mirrored it. That would be hilarious.
Can I mention Rodrigo as well, please? Because I think I commented before that if you watch how he celebrates his goals, he celebrates with the joy of a 5-year-old every time, like a kid at a kid's birthday party or whatever. And Keith has said, yeah, with the loss of Bamford, it's nice to see Spain's number 9 step up. Also got to love his high knees celebration. Doing the can-can. Love it.
They're not always the same either, are they? They're always of a type, but I think there's little variations in them.
It's always kind of a screamy face, like, ah!
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to see someone enjoying himself.
Other nominations. Cock gets a nomination. West Stand Ralph nominating Cock, said he was ace.
He was very good. Llorente was good as well. Cock probably slightly better. But maybe that's just the imagination going, Llorente must have done something. But yeah, he was good. And what if...
we saw him, by the way, in Moscow. Did we tell you that?
Yeah.
We saw him, yeah.
What if Cock has an injury-free season and it is brilliant? That would be good, wouldn't it? I would be happy.
Yes.
Yeah, he needs it as well. He deserves it. But yeah, we saw Cock in real life, didn't we, on Sunday in Leeds when we went
so
for food.
Big and handsome.
He is really, really handsome. That annoying. You can see why they do all the kit reveal photos with him, can't you?
It's someone else who's big and handsome gets a nomination from Scrooge, the Big Pirate. Moscow Michael for coining my naming of Strauch as Big Pirate, and then the Big Pirate for doing I'm going to leave you hanging, for doing a dead good job of putting his round peg in that square hole.
For the audio version, by the way, Moscow did just put his hand up for a high five for Michael. They're trying to share that glory. Michael refused.
I refused.
So but I high-fived myself, and it was better.
But no, the big Pirate, I thought he did pretty well at left back, actually, because I was concerned. I mean, I think it probably helped that James was playing as a centre back for a lot of the time, because he was the one I was worried about bombing forward, but instead they seemed to have Loftus-Cheek playing as a winger, and it was all a bit weird. He had a really big winger against a really big left back.
Loftus-Cheek tried having a go at Stroik, didn't he? Got in him early doors, and then Stroik gave him some back.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, I didn't see that because I turned away. The play had sort of moved just slightly away, hadn't it, from when Loftus-Cheek clobbered him.
Cheek clobbering him was probably less audacious than Rocker clobbering Conor Gallagher, which he came off worse, and it wasn't like there was no real malicious intent, but I don't think I've seen anybody arrive later. Just full body check about 10 minutes after the ball had gone, and it was hilarious. He's funny. Watching it back, I mentioned that on the match ball as well. Rocker, he got Chelsea had that big chance that I think was offside after. In fact, it was offside after Rocker. I assume it's always him. Didn't shout, and so Koch came out and challenged for a ball, and then they were both standing next to each other and going like, "Why are we both here?" And then the ball got chipped over behind Koch, and they were offside. And then he did it. Tyler Adams was going for a high ball, and he comes and challenges him, and Tyler Adams ends up going down, landing on his back really hard. Rocker is a danger to everybody around him, and it's great. It's we always assumed from the Blackpool game as soon as we saw him, he is going to get a red card for something this season. There's now a reasonable chance it's going to be for tackling one of his own players.
Yeah, he has reined it in on the opposition a little bit, hasn't he? Which has been good to see.
But now it's started on our lot.
USA getting mentions, by the way. Lewis in particular wants to nominate the USA for providing us with a manager who makes subs. Adams could intercept an MI5 call, and Aronson who does Aronson-y things, and the Founding Fathers get a mention by Goldie as well.
He did also nominate them for villains, but without the hero, but it didn't make any sense. Nominate them for villains because they're like worse slave owners and stuff, which wasn't as good.
Probably not territory we need to stray into.
Not really.
No, not really. A nod for Mark Jackson as well from Dino and Cameron for being a set-piece genius because he's been moved on to set pieces. But
Jackie and Jacko.
Yeah, it's going to be Jesse this week, isn't it?
Not Mark Gianni Vio Jackinson. That didn't quite come out right, but you know what I mean. It's a joke about Gianni Vio.
Yeah, thank you for explaining that.
It's okay.
The weariness of a man.
The FA got a nomination as well from Wedge for somehow taking a week to decide what a red card should be, and therefore forcing Tuchel to watch the demolition job as close as he can.
Excellent. It's Jesse, isn't it? Jesse's the hero of the week.
I think so.
He made everybody happy. He made subs. And we won.
Made us all very happy. We won.
And we got the perfect goal. So tackling the goalkeeper is that's a Marsch instruction. So when it comes off, fair play.
Bueno.
What a moment.
Excellent.
Why bueno it? We're trying to leave that in the past. And you bueno him.
All right. Yeehaw.
There we go.
Well done, Jesse. More of the same plays. I mean, bloody hell, if we go and win at Brighton, what a start to the season it's going to be. So, one thing at a time, though.
And then we beat Everton. Then we beat Brentford.
Before you know it.
Who do we play after
that? Scum, I think, isn't it?
Beat them?
Yep.
I don't see how any of these teams beat us. So there's only one other result possible.
Is it because, well, we could draw.
Nah, it's boring.
Is it because we're actually quite good and we don't yet know it?
Well, it's because we're actually terrible and we're just getting good results that mask the true pain that is coming.
It is still too early to tell.
Yeah, of course it is.
Let's be calmish.
But that's why you need to live in the moment with these things and kind of like, what does it say about any of the games at the end of last season? What does it say about how this season will go? Not a lot, but it does say that we absolutely smashed Chelsea 3-0 and not everybody listening to this was there to see it because people all around the world, not everybody can get a ticket into our catastrophically tiny stadium, but it was really, really good. So that's good.
Yeah, well, before all this, as we were going into the season, we said we didn't know quite where our ceiling was and where our floor was. Things had changed a little bit. And with each passing game, when you see us beat Chelsea, it feels like the ceiling is probably a little bit higher than we initially thought, which is nice. And maybe the floor's just come up a little bit.
Well, we've got a little bit of a data set now on like Aronson and Adams. And I think we can say with a degree of confidence they're not shit, which is always a danger, isn't it, when you sign new players, and particularly when they're replacing your best players. But even if they don't reach the heights of Chelsea,
on a good day, they're really good. Yeah,
they'll probably be all right all season. It's quite a claim.
Big call from Norman's and 3 games into the season. We'll wrap up the show there then. Let's hope we reconvene next week and we are celebrating cup progress and league progress as we march towards the title or at least the Champions League.
And don't neglect League Cup progress and match ball.
I did say League Cup
did
progress.
You?
Yeah.
There's no need for me to repeat it then, was there?
No, not really. We'll see you later on. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye-bye.
The Square Ball Podcast.